Now here's something that you need to understand. You're not as fast as you were in pre-season, and no matter what we do right now, you're not going to be. One of the biggest problems that I deal with late in the season is that rugby league players always want to do more because they're feeling tired, unfit, or generally sluggish. My name is Jared. I've been a strength and conditioning coach in rugby league since 2013. Players that I've coached at the time of recording have played well over 450 NRL and NRLW matches, and this is Rugby League Strength. This is where I take you through what it takes to become an elite rugby league player, an elite rugby league athlete. Every single year from about June through to October, I get inundated with messages asking about extras or different programs, things that we can do to improve the fitness and improve the speed or improve the power, because people get late in the season and they feel like they're starting to struggle. They're starting to really get beaten up on the field, or they're feeling tired. Heavy legs is one that's often used. I don't feel as fast as I did in pre-season. Now here's something that you need to understand. You're not as fast as you were in pre-season, and no matter what we do right now, you're not fucking gonna be. The problem people have is they expect to be March ready, like they've just done 3-4 months of pre-season, in September and October. Think about it like this. If you've played since March, you've probably been training since November. Even if it's January, we're looking at 8 to 10, potentially 11 months of what we call accumulated fatigue. So the body doesn't recover completely perfectly within training bouts or within weekly bouts. So if you have a game day and you take 3 days, even if you don't do anything, you're not genuinely 100% recovered by the time you have your next training day. You've still got to lift, you've still got to train, you've still got to keep your strength up, you've still got to keep your speed up, all your skills, everything like that. But even if you do everything right, you're probably not getting to a genuine 100% recovery. Let's say even if you get 99% recovered, you've done the best you can. You still got to train 2 days later. Maybe you're 97% recovered from that last training to the next training. Then you've got a game. Maybe you have a bad day and you're unable to recover as best you can. Maybe you're 85 to 90% recovered. All of these numbers over time, they're not adding up to 100%, which means that as the season progresses, you are getting more fatigued. You are going to get a little bit slower, a little bit less strong, even if you're doing everything right. Now, there are ways that we can try and mitigate this. Of course, the whole premise of getting our training planned properly is so that we're not taking huge hits to your neurological ability, to your physical ability to perform. And we're making sure we are as fresh and as recovered as we can. When you have a bye week, oftentimes it is best to genuinely just go home, relax, enjoy the week of football, come back and train the next week. Let everything reset, let the tissues recover, let the nervous system recover, because rugby league is an extremely stressful sport in a number of ways. So the concept of accumulated fatigue is incredibly important for you to understand. Now, that is not to say that we cannot make progress in season. Absolutely we can. In-season strength training is vital to performance. In-season speed training is vital to performance. What I'm getting at is when we come down to late August, September, October, could be different if you're in the Northern Hemisphere. When we come down to that point where we are approaching finals footy, it's too late to drastically change everything and make yourself way faster, way fitter, anything like that. You can still do something to make you better than your opposition though. And it's a very simple concept, and it's actually one of the biggest ways to improve your performance at this stage of the year compared to the people that you're going to be playing against. The issue that people have, right, is that they will try and do extras. So you're training, let's say club training takes 2.5 hours, it's only 2 times a week, and you've got a game on the weekend. Now you still have to work, can't get away from work. Unless you're a professional footy player, you've still got to work, you've still got to live your life, you've still got responsibilities, and none of those things go away. So anything that you add is only adding to your fatigue. Let's think about fitness as the difference between our performance ability. So right up here, that's our performance, strength, power, agility, quickness, speed, body composition, everything that makes up what you can do on the field. We'll call that performance right now. Now fatigue, that's going to be sitting right here. Fatigue, self-explanatory. That's the fatigue that you've got from, that's your central nervous system fatigue, muscular fatigue, anything that is going to negate or take away from some of that performance. Now basically all strength and conditioning and performance is managing these two levels, your performance ability and your fatigue levels. Through pre-season, we're cranking up that ability to perform by building strength, by building power, by building muscle size, etc. But we're also bringing that fatigue level up. Now that's manageable. We don't need a big gap between them, right? In pre-season. That gap between your ability to perform and your fatigue levels, that's going to be what makes up what you can do on the field. Because if you're the strongest, fittest, fastest person on the field, but you're fucked, you're gassed, you are completely fatigued, you're playing with this much, that much room to move. But if you are someone who isn't the fittest, fastest or strongest, but you've got no fatigue, you're going to smoke that ginormous person who's able to do 2 efforts because they're completely gassed. Consider that our concept. The difference between performance and fatigue, that gap, that's going to be what you can pull off on field. That's going to be what makes the difference. That's what you can actually work with when it comes to your game. Pre-season, both lines are pretty much going up. Once you get to a certain point in season, it's pretty damn hard to make that performance line go up because you are playing on weekends, you are so fatigued and tired that you're not able to get multiple gym sessions in a week. You're not able to get enough of a stimulus and speed and strength to really push that level up super high. You can still make it go up a little bit, but not super high. But anything major that you do to try and push this performance level up is going to come with a big increase in fatigue at this stage. So what you need to consider is doing 2 extra speed sessions and 2 extra gym sessions out of the blue because you feel fatigued and you feel slow on the field. If you're cranking out 4 extra sessions a week to get this much of an improvement in your performance ability, and it makes a huge chunk of a difference to your fatigue, now you're playing with less than what you had before you made that performance improvement. What we want to think about late in season is, can we keep this performance ability as high as it can be, but pull this fatigue nice and low? Get as little fatigue as we possibly can. So basically what I'm saying is, late in season, increase the size of this gap between performance and fatigue. People who can increase the size of that gap and play with more on game day are going to be the ones, they look fitter, they look faster, they look stronger on field on game day, even though maybe they're not. So doing more super late in season is not necessarily the go. If you are doing significant amount of gym volume, over 150 reps in a session, more than probably 2 good sessions a week, start considering pulling that volume down, that total training volume down. Get the intensity high, but we're talking late in season, 2, 3, maybe 4 sets of just a few lifts in the gym. Big compound movements, move fast, move aggressively. We don't need to be maxing out. We don't need to be grinding through super heavy lifts, and we don't need to be building massive amounts of fatigue. If you've got less than 6 weeks left of your season and you're starting to feel heavy-legged, start pulling right back on the training. Intensity still needs to remain high. Still do your 2 or 3 training sessions a week, whether that's field stuff and or gym stuff. Start pulling the volume down, so the total amount you do, by 20 or 30%. Not adding any extras and pulling that volume down a little bit while keeping your intensities high. That's how we're going to keep that performance ability up there, even if it drops just a little bit from reducing that total training volume. But our fatigue levels will drop off significantly and significantly faster, so you have a bigger gap to play with between what you can do and where your fatigue starts tapping you out. You're going to be coming up against guys and girls when it comes to late in the season who are trying to do more and more and more. And all of a sudden they're throwing extra speed work in, even though they haven't done it for weeks and months. All of a sudden they're doing 4 gym sessions when they've been banging out 1 a week. Their fatigue is going to go right up to where their fitness or their physical performance abilities are. So the way I've described it here is a simple way to look at it. Performance minus fatigue, that is fitness. That is your ability to actually perform on game day. So when it comes to late in season, keep your performance level as high as it can, but consider this fatigue. If you're feeling heavy as hell on field, or you're feeling slow, or you're feeling unfit, see what you can do to get rid of that fatigue. I'm not saying completely stop training. You completely stop training, your performance goes so you need to keep enough of a stimulus to keep that up. But start looking at, okay, can I pull back a little bit and see what that does for me? If you've never tried it, it's going to feel very strange. You're going to come into game day maybe even feeling a bit jittery and like you've got too much energy, and that's good for what we want now. Start looking at the way you're doing things. You don't necessarily need extra work this late in the season. We're looking at game day. We're looking at, can you perform in those last couple rounds? Can you perform in the finals? You're not getting that much fitter, faster, or stronger in the next 2 or 3 weeks, but you can blow your season up if you do something stupid and all of a sudden start trying to blow up too hard. Make sure we increase that gap, and you're going to go a long way towards making a huge difference on that field.